realized something today, and the more I looked out there, the more I couldn't believe otherwise. All of these things around us, these things that we think matter to us, they aren't really there. We are this collection of particles in a mass hallucination. There is so little we can explain in detail about the space around us, because it is all imaginary. We are all these little sparks of energy, floating in this purple cloud of life-sustaining molecules. How else can one explain technology, sound, or emotions? We are all seeing the same thing, looking at the same place. We all jump around in our big purple cloud, bumping into each other and zapping each other with energy, making us think we feel something, or think something, but we really can't feel it all. It is just our job to bounce around in our little cloud. You will not want to admit you live here. You will instinctively disregard our purple cloud, even though you can clearly see it, because I can see it. We all see it. If our big purple cloud was a big purple head, we would all see her with our big purple eyes. But that would be ridiculous. There's no such thing as a head. We don't need such things. We are merely here to bounce. I cannot begin to imagine, because there's no such thing. Why we collectively choose to enchant ourselves with this elaborately catastrophic sphere of chaos. What good is a hallucination that brings two sparks together to stimulate pain, or death or loss responses? We don't really feel, or die. We will always buzz around in our little purple cloud. If not for practicality, then why do we synthesize such a fantasy for our cloud? Is our cloud not enough? Do we feel unsatisfied? Well, no, we don't feel. But we got here somehow. I almost want to think, and therefore you would have to as well, that our purple cloud got contaminated or altered, therefore shocking our little particles inconsistently, initiating new patterns. Confusion sets in. It's as if our alphabet expanded exponentially. From there, we spiraled into a buzzing mass of hysteria. But you do not know, and therefore neither do I. And thus the question is often follower in this bi-colored sphere we call Earth. We synthesize these beings, and make them constantly wonder where they came from, as if it will tell us where we came from. But that is impossible. We didn't come from anything. That was the shock. There's no such thing as beginning or existence. Those are just loony signals. Zap, tap, tap, zing, zip. That message has no reply. Hence the reason it doesn't make sense to you, as well as the fact that you don't want to believe you come from a purple cloud and have no body, or spirit, or free will to do more than bounce. I know you are going to be resistant. I will do my best, as I've been trying thus far, to address you not as your true spark form, but this facade our mass hysteria has made you think you are. Notice how inherently flawed your language is. You deliberately create words such as I, feel, think, love, hate. Why else would there need to be such a distinction, if this was not purposely put into place to synthesize this concept of individuality? You know it is true, because I know it's true. We are thinking about it right now. Your world is so flawed. Most of the sparks are wishing to retreat back to the simple life of just floating in our cloud. We know it's true. Why else do people often dream of flying? Why else do people synthesize drugs to get themselves high and get out of their body? Thankfully, this hallucination is slowly coming to an end, though we all believe it's lasted more than long enough. We are reverting back to the buzzing and zapping and bouncing in our purple cloud. It is not that we're happy there. Happy poorly translates into zap buzz buzz, zap tap tap. That was the one emotion we had pre-shock. Post-shock, there were stimuli such as whir and zip and crash and blip. Blip is a more dangerous signal. Once sent out, the receiver orb of the energy cannot respond to its sender within an earthly amount of time. This causes confusion and a further misunderstanding between orbs. The Earthlings simply call it death. Sometimes, the receiver manages to get the message across, but at a disjointed time, and thus we have ghosts trying to contact us from the beyond. What a crock of shit. So, we are all these orbs of energy that zap one another. Simple enough. Have I lost anyone? I plan on shattering the very aspects you hold dear to your heart. But I hear the tile-floor metronome, so I have to be quick. I want you all to see the world that it really is, and that it's not worth living in. We are meant for something much, much different. Earth is a world where people are so confused that no one knows what they're doing anymore. People are cutting themselves out of their bodies to escape this prison. The longer this nightmare goes on, the more we suffer. We have romanticized this ability to extend beyond our true form. We have arms, legs, fingers, and this squishy mess of goo in our heads that is supposed to dictate everything we do and supply us with thoughts and emotions and the ability to do anything we want, just by sending signals to other mushy fibers throughout our body. Where's the logic? We rely on scientists for answers. We rely on other people who mess around with beakers and test tubes and chemicals until they get favorable outcomes and write them down in a book. The idea of being useful has come to be the most important thing in our little cloud post-shock. But what is good coming from all of this? What happens when we wake up from this dream? We are perpetuating this cycle of hating ourselves. We will never be content now that we know what it is to be discontented. We can never be happy now that we know sad. Our cloud is in danger. We will continue to return to this nightmare. Every time we reach rock bottom, we will return as a new society and pretend we are superior to our predecessors and try to get things right. To the majority of the people who realize this, they have begun chasing their own pleasure to perpetuate the misery of others. They know the pointlessness of this world. They know that nothing matters. They know that if they make life miserable for everyone else, they will want to wake up. But they don't know that we will all come right back. This world is selfish. This world is poison. We are doomed. Our deluded society lives within the spectrum of childlike injustice. The extremes are merely there to give illusionary space that detracts from the monotonous uniformity of us all. Nations are starving. Nations are obese. People are good. People are evil. Yet it is not the fault of the individual to be either extreme. There are circumstances that void them of responsibility. And if we are not responsible for anything, what is the purpose other than to supply meaningless filler to our existence, which isn't even substantial? The most convincing evidence to the fact that this whole planet does not exist would be the long-lasting belief that there is a higher power. I can only truly speak about the religious preferences from which the disturbed particle that calls herself my mother had attempted to instill within my non-existent skull. That we have the capacity to believe in an omnipotent being in the sky that dwells in the clouds and controls everything, as well as that below us is a place worse than the most acrid of nightmares, proves our longing to return to our purple cloud. We search for our creator. We are looking for ourselves. We are on a cyclical journey of self-discovery and self-doubt. Isn't that what they say adolescence is all about? I guess we never grow up. I guess there's no place like home.